Why do some men command instant respect, while others become invisible the moment they walk in? Why does the atmosphere shift for some, while others are filtered out like background noise before they even speak? It's not luck, it's not money, it's not status, and it's definitely not charisma. The real answer is far more brutal and far more uncomfortable, because whether you realize it or not, every room you walk into scans you, instantly, silently, without permission. Before you say a single word, they've already decided what you are, what you're worth, whether you belong or whether you're disposable. If you've ever walked into a room, held your posture, adjusted your voice, tried to act confident, only to realize that the room never adjusts to you, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. That cold, silent discomfort of being present, but irrelevant. No one says it out loud, but you feel it. You feel it in the way conversations continue without you. You feel it in the way their eyes slide past you. You feel it when your words land flat, while someone else, with less to say, commands attention with silence alone. And there's a brutal paradox hidden inside all of this. The men who get noticed, the men who get respected, aren't the ones doing the most. They aren't the ones performing. They aren't the ones trying. They're the ones who've mastered something almost no one talks about: psychological presence, command, tension, the ability to be felt without noise, without effort, without permission. Meanwhile, the men who remain invisible are stuck in an endless loop of over-explaining, overcompensating, over-speaking, hoping, quietly begging to be recognized, to be validated, to be seen. And the worst part, the more you try, the more invisible you become, because presence is not earned through effort. It's transmitted through silence, through tension, through unspoken authority. You've probably been lied to your entire life, told that respect comes from being nice, from being agreeable, from being charismatic, from being social, from being helpful. But reality, brutal biological reality, doesn't work like that. Every social environment runs on an invisible primal code, a subconscious algorithm that ranks everyone instantly the moment they show up. It happens at work, in relationships, in social circles, in negotiations, in every room, at every table, in every conversation. And whether you like it or not, whether you see it or not, that code is always running. Some men enter the room, and the room adjusts to them. The pace slows, the energy shifts. People become more careful, more aware. Conversations soften, distractions dissolve. Everyone subconsciously senses the same thing. This man holds weight, and others walk in. And the room continues exactly as it was. Their presence changes nothing. Their energy feels negotiable, optional, forgettable. Their existence becomes white noise, tolerated, but never respected. You've felt both sides of this. You've seen it. You've lived it. You've watched men take up space like they were born to own it, while you tried, desperately, to manufacture what they seemed to generate without effort. And maybe you told yourself it's luck, or genetics, or personality, something mysterious you weren't born with. But the truth is far more uncomfortable and far more liberating, because presence isn't magic, it isn't luck, and it isn't random. It's a language, a set of signals, silent, powerful, subconscious signals that every human body understands, whether they admit it or not. Most men will never learn it. Most will stay invisible, forever. But if you've made it here, you're not most men. And today, you're going to learn exactly why some men are instantly respected, while others, no one even notices. If this already speaks to something inside you, then follow the signal. Subscribe now. Stay with the few, because this is not content. This is a code. Most men have no idea how visible their weakness is, how loud their insecurity sounds, even in complete silence. They think no one notices. They think if they just hold good posture, fake a confident smile, or speak with enough enthusiasm, people will believe it. They don't. No one does. Because the truth is, presence isn't what you say. It's not how you smile. It's not how nice you are. Presence is a transmission. And for most men, that transmission is leaking weakness without knowing it, without choosing it, without realizing it. Every time you walk into a room and hesitate, it's visible. Every time you lower your tone to avoid confrontation, it's noticed. Every time your hands fidget, your eyes dart, your weight shifts, your breathing changes. You are broadcasting one message louder than anything you'll ever say. I don't belong here. I don't hold weight here. I hope you accept me. And the world responds exactly as it should. By adjusting around you, not to respect you, but to ignore you, to filter you out, to rank you exactly where you've silently placed yourself, at the bottom. It shows up in ways you pretend not to notice. People interrupt you, easily, frequently, like it's natural. They forget your name. They look past you when someone more commanding enters the room. You speak, and conversations roll over you like you weren't even there. Not because they hate you, not because they dislike you, but because your energy is forgettable, optional, negotiable. And the worst part? You've probably spent years thinking you just need to be more social, more likable, more outgoing, smiling more, talking more, being more helpful, giving more of yourself, chasing connection, chasing attention, chasing approval. And the more you do, the more invisible you become, because no one tells you the brutal truth. No one teaches you that trying harder actually lowers your value. That over-explaining makes you look weak. That over-communicating makes you look desperate. That being endlessly available destroys your perceived worth. And it's not your fault. You were trained to believe this. You were conditioned to believe that being accommodating, friendly, helpful, overly expressive, constantly engaged would make people like you, respect you, value you. You were taught to fill silence, to overcompensate, to perform for acceptance. But the world doesn't reward that. The real world doesn't operate on the social lies you were fed. It operates on tension, on control, on presence, on energy. And every time you speak too quickly, every time you explain too much, every time you lean in hoping to be included, you leak that energy. You broadcast a simple, brutal, subconscious signal. I do not hold gravity. And the hierarchy adjusts. Instantly, silently, automatically. People don't consciously decide it. They feel it. They register it at a biological level. Their body responds before their mind has time to rationalize it. And just like that, you become background noise, tolerated, ignored, forgotten. And maybe you've tried to fight it. Maybe you've told yourself, next time I'll stand taller, I'll speak louder, I'll smile more, I'll try harder. But it never works. Because the problem isn't how you act, it's how you're perceived. It is the invisible weight, or the lack of it, that enters the room before you speak. This is the real reason you get overlooked. This is the real reason no one respects you. Not because they hate you, not because you're not good enough, but because the version of you that walks into the room sends the wrong signal. The signal of a man who does not hold power, who does not hold gravity, who does not command space. And until that changes, the world will continue to treat you exactly the same way it always has, with polite disinterest, with subtle dismissal, with silent rejection. Not because they choose to, but because their biology leaves them no other option. The brutal truth is, most men destroy their own presence before they even realize the room has started scanning them. And they do it with small, almost invisible behaviors. Behaviors they've repeated for so long. They don't even notice them anymore. But everyone else does. Instantly, subconsciously, relentlessly. It starts before you even open your mouth. The moment you walk in, your shoulders aren't fully squared. Your chin is slightly lowered. Your head tilts. Your gaze scans too quickly, signaling uncertainty. Your hands fidget, adjusting your jacket, touching your face, checking your phone, all desperate microsignals that broadcast a single subconscious message. I am not in control. I am not the one who holds gravity here. Then your breathing betrays you. It speeds up, gets shallow. You don't notice, but your nervous system does, and so does everyone else's, because humans are biologically programmed to detect tension, and more importantly, to detect who can hold it and who can't. Then it continues in how you take up space. You shrink. You avoid leaning back. You avoid stillness. You fill gaps. You fill silences. You overcompensate with movement, nodding, over-listening, smiling too fast, laughing too quickly, and agreeing too eagerly. Then comes the voice, slightly higher pitched, slightly faster, sentences that end like questions, statements that sound like requests for approval. You try to soften your presence, soften your delivery. You try to make yourself more digestible, more acceptable. You think it makes you likable, but it doesn't. It makes you ignorable. And if that wasn't enough, you sabotage yourself further by explaining too much, by filling every pause with noise, by feeling the unbearable pressure of silence, and mistaking that pressure for something to escape rather than something to own. Every time you rush to answer, you lower your value. Every time you respond too quickly, you signal availability. Every time you jump to explain yourself, you confirm what they already suspected, that you don't hold authority, that you don't hold weight, that you're safe to ignore. And it doesn't end there. You overcorrect with fake confidence, loud laughs, exaggerated gestures, overused words, trying desperately to manufacture the aura that deep down, you know you don't command. But here it's the darkest part of it all. The room doesn't to punish you consciously. No one's being mean, no one's trying to humiliate you. The punishment is biological, automatic. They simply don't notice you. Or worse, they tolerate you. Like background music, like white noise, present but irrelevant. And the most sinister detail, the more self-aware you become of this pattern, the worse it feels. The more you try to manually fix it with better posture, or a deeper voice, or stronger eye contact, the more it feels like an act, like pretending, like wearing a suit that doesn't fit. And deep down, they can feel it. Everyone can. Because energy doesn't lie. Your nervous system doesn't lie. Your body doesn't lie. And their nervous system picks it up before their brain even realizes it. This is the invisible error, the one that lives in your micro-expressions, in your voice tone, in your pacing, in your breathing, in how you hold silence, or how you collapse under it. It's the difference between being someone who bends the room and someone the room forgets existed the moment they left. Until this error is corrected, nothing changes. No matter how smart you are, no matter how much you try, no matter how good your intentions are, if your energy leaks weakness, the world reads it, instantly, and without mercy. Here's the shift, the code, the transition point where the man who was ignored becomes the man the room adjusts to. It begins with stillness, because the man who holds power isn't in a rush. His movements aren't accidental. His breathing isn't shallow. His eyes don't scan for approval. His body doesn't seek permission. He understands, whether consciously or instinctively, that presence is built on tension, silent tension. This tension isn't something to avoid, it's something to own. Because in every room, there's a gap between noise and silence, between distraction and attention, between the men who perform and the men who transmit gravity. The man who holds that gap owns the room. It starts the moment you walk in, shoulders fully squared, spine elongated, chin neutral, not raised to overcompensate, not lowered to submit, gaze steady. You're not looking for someone. You're not scanning for who to please. Your gaze sends one signal. I am felt before I am heard. Then you're breathing, deep, low, slow. You are not in a rush. You are not waiting for permission. You are not here to fill space with noise. You are here to occupy space with presence. Your movements slow. Everything slows. Because the man who owns the room sets the tempo. He becomes the gravitational center. His stillness becomes a mirror. And suddenly, everyone else starts fidgeting, adjusting, wondering, why are you so comfortable? Why are you so still? Why does your silence feel heavier than their words? When you speak, you do it slowly. You let pauses hang. You let others fill them. You let their discomfort rise. You let the silence do the work. Because tension is power. And when you listen, you don't nod excessively. You don't rush to agree. You hold your frame. You hold your gaze. You let them feel the weight of being seen, fully, without flinching, without softening. The same applies to your voice. Drop the pitch. Lower the tempo. Stop rushing. Remove filler words. Remove nervous laughter. Replace empty noise with weighted silence. With precision, with deliberate cadence. And here's the truth no one told you. The man who holds tension commands. The man who collapses under it disappears. This is the shift. From being the man who performs for the room to being the man the room performs for. Test it today. In any conversation, in any space. Walk slower, move less, breathe deeper, speak less, hold your frame longer. Watch how the world starts adjusting, not because you forced it, but because your presence left them no other choice. And when you notice it, when you feel the shift, come back here, tell me. Write it below. Share exactly what changed, exactly what you noticed. Because this isn't just a video, this is a blueprint, and I want to know who felt the shift. Once you apply this, everything changes. Not in theory, not someday, not gradually. Instantly. The shift is real, and you'll feel it before anyone even says a word. You notice it first in their eyes, the way they look at you. Longer, slower, more careful, like their nervous system just registered something, but their mind hasn't caught up yet. Their gaze holds tension now, a subtle mix of curiosity and caution. Then it shows up in their behavior. Conversations pause slightly when you move. People hesitate before interrupting. Their speech patterns adjust, matching your pace. Their energy slows, subconsciously waiting for your reaction before continuing. In meetings, people start offering explanations without being asked. They soften disagreements. They check your facial expressions before finishing their sentences. You become the silent reference point, the gravitational center, the unspoken authority in the room. In social settings, the same pattern unfolds. People lean in when you speak. They mirror your body language. They wait longer before responding. Their jokes are aimed to entertain you. Their stories are delivered to hold your attention. You've become the invisible frame that the entire interaction calibrates itself around. And with women, the difference is almost uncomfortable. The attention shifts. The energy flips. You are no longer the man who pursues. You are no longer the one sending signals. You become the signal. Your stillness becomes magnetic. Your absence becomes tension. Your presence becomes gravity. Even those who don't consciously understand it respond to it. Some become more polite. Others become nervous. Some feel the need to prove themselves to you without knowing why. They apologize faster. They justify their choices. They look for micro approvals in your face. Because your energy, now heavy, deliberate, controlled, demands recalibration from everyone around you. And here's the part that surprises most men. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase validation. Your silence becomes louder than any performance you've ever tried. The room bends, without a word. The very same people who once overlooked you now notice everything. They notice when you enter. They notice when you leave. They notice when you pause. And most importantly, they notice when you don't engage. Your absence starts to carry weight. Your silence starts to create tension. Your disinterest becomes a form of control. And this is where the inversion happens. You're no longer fighting for space. You're no longer managing impressions. You're no longer trying to be seen. You've become the man who doesn't ask for attention, because the entire environment subconsciously works to keep your attention. This is the reality no one told you about. The hierarchy always adjusts. Social dynamics always calibrate. But it never happens through words. It never happens through performance. It happens through presence, through tension, through gravity. The men who command don't perform. They don't explain. They don't chase. They don't soften their edges to be liked. They hold. They breathe. They occupy. And the world bends. Now, walk differently. Not like the man who hopes to be seen. Not like the man who manages impressions. Not like the man who adjusts himself to fit into spaces that were never designed to respect him. Walk as the man who doesn't ask for space, but occupies it. Speak less. Move slower. Breathe deeper. Let the silence work for you. Let the tension hold the room. Let your presence become the invisible weight that bends the energy wherever you are. Every room you enter from this point forward calibrates to you, not because you demanded it, not because you performed for it, but because your presence left no other option. They will feel it in your timing, in your posture, in your gaze, in the stillness you own, in the tension you hold, in the gravity that now exists, simply because you do. And the world will test it. Pay attention. Watch closely. Watch how some people lean in, while others retreat. Watch how conversations adjust to your pace. How their breathing changes when you hold silence. How they become careful with their words, when your stillness feels heavier than their sentences. But here's the most brutal realization of all. The hierarchy was never spoken. The rules were never written. But everyone always knew. They've always felt it. They've always responded to it, even when they pretended not to. And now, so do you. From this moment on, you don't shrink. You don't soften. You don't negotiate your presence. You don't ask for validation. You don't perform for respect. You become the reference point, the gravitational center, the man whose silence commands the room. And every time you walk into a room from this day forward, remember the only question that matters. Am I here to prove something, or to be felt? Because most won't get this. Most will hear this, nod, agree, and go right back to performing, to chasing, to collapsing under the pressure of being liked, of being seen, of being tolerated. But the few, the silent few, the ones who feel this not just in their mind but in their bones, they already know. This isn't motivation. This isn't advice. This is a signal, a code, a reminder of what they were always meant to become before the world trained them to shrink. If you've made it this far, it proves you're part of the 1%. Subscribe now. Stay with the few. Because from now on, you don't move around the world. The world moves around you.